I think my headset might be up too loud. There we go. Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Sunday Sketch. Feels like it's been a little bit, but I am back, and we are revisiting Thodak, the Blacksmith from Geek and Sundry's um, Celebrity Indie featuring Terry Crews. Mr. Terry Crews playing the what are they called? Magar Orc, Thodak the Blacksmith. So last time I spent some time designing him how I imagined he would look based on the description given by Terry Crews. Um, and so this time, taking that design and turning it into a nice image, hopefully, is the plan. So let me just rearrange my video or my yeah, there we go, my windows a little bit so that I can see the chat up there and my art stuff down here. So this is the design that we had. Let's put those away. So this is a design that we had for Thodak, and this is of course the just kind of the initial thing, right? So this time I want to take this, refine it a little bit more, and put it into a scene, right? Because that's what you do once you have your character designed, you want to do something with him, right? So here's what I'm gonna do. Island expeditions have been a big part of, uh, well, I think a big part. I've been playing a bit of Battle for Azeroth lately, and that's what the episode of the Celebrity Indie was built around, were these Battle for Azeroth characters and these events in the island expeditions. So I want to sort of get the idea of an island exploration, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna find some good old tropical island images to base my image around. So we got this guy, that looks nice, except we got him on a weird layer. Let's put him back here. There we go. Let's put this version of Thodak. This is version 1. I'm going to go ahead and put him in his own folder so that we can move him around easily. So now we're going to put Thodak on a tropical island, is the idea. Because that's what island expeditions are all about. So we're going to get some reference material, get some images of islands and how the water interacts with them and all that good stuff. It's actually really interesting. I've never actually been to the tropics or subtropics or anything like that before myself, but the water seems just so blue, you know? But also clear in a lot of places, or a lot clearer than I would think in a lot of places. Ooh, that is a big image that I got there. There we go. That's actually a really nice one. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to put these all in a reference folder as well. There we go. So let's set up the scene, how we want it to look, right? So I'm going to take these. I'm actually going to shrink them down a little bit more, move them off to the side, because those are just kind of just supposed to be reference material. I'm not actually going to be copying them exactly. More just using them for ideas, iterations, that kind of thing. They're more of a theme than a strict model, right? So what I want to do is I think I want to make it a fairly square image. Maybe, not too big, right? Make sure our pen settings are okay. I've had some trouble with the pen settings before, because mostly I think because my cats like to crawl around on my desk, and so sometimes they'll step on my keyboard, and I don't know exactly what's going on there. But anyways, so I think what I want to do first is establish, because you can kind of see the water, or you can see the sand through the water for quite a ways, it feels like. So I think the first thing I want to do is establish the ground plane and where the beach is, right? So we're going to put Thodak on kind of this white, brownish sort of sand color. Ba-ba, there we go. So we're going to do right like that. Let me actually take a paintbrush. I think I can do like an oil painting style instead here. Right, so I'm just going to fill in as much of this space as I can. And I'm actually going to keep the background white on this image because, and that's I've practiced this technique called what is it called? Toning your canvas, and I've been practicing that a little bit here and there. With mixed results, but I think in this case I want to keep it white because the sand on the beaches is very light, that kind of thing. So I want to keep it very light, right? So there's that. Then I'm going to take this bright blue color, and this is going to be our sky. And then I think we're just going to continue taking this color down onto our beach, right? So when we hide our reference images, you see we're already kind of getting this idea of the beach already. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong thing. So, so far so good. And then we need a few things. Obviously, we need to build in our horizon line. We need to establish some, like trees and clouds and scenery and stuff like that. Happy little clouds. So I think I want to push the water back a little bit from there. So I think I'm going to take a little bit darker blue. Or, the ocean. And just kind of get the line in there, right? Because if we look at our references again, it does get a bit darker. The ocean water gets darker the further out you get. See, I'll zoom in here. You can kind of see it, right? So you get this nice light blue, and then it goes to a dark blue on this horizon line right in here. So that's the idea. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be more of a deep blue than a dark blue, though. I think that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from that. So we're gonna just work that in there, right? Okay, and then there's this green. There's like this bright green jade, however you want, whatever color you want to call it. I'm trying to think of exactly what color I would call it, but it's just like blue green. I guess sea spray it would be, or sea foam green. would be technically the correct color. And we're going to try and kind of build in the sort of waves, right? The tide and all that. But you see, we're building it on top of this this beach color that we already have. So you can see the sand beach color in there. You can see the green and the blues and all of that. And then of course there's this white happening with the water line here. Anytime the water's like disturbed a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and throw in some white happening here along the shore. And I think for this, I want to take like a spray paint, and I'm gonna just test this out, right? Because I want to make sure that I don't. I would build I think a pattern brush would probably be the best thing to build this out with, but I think for the purposes of this video or this live stream, I think I don't really have a ton of time where I want to spend building a brush. Maybe I'll do that in another one, but for now I'm building a beach. So, but tools, it is important to have the right tools for the job, of course. But I'm just gonna just work that in there. And then I think what I'm gonna do is try and just work in a little bit more of a strict line with the oil brush over the top of that. Because it does tend to like flatten out into like a pattern. Whereas this brush is kind of fuzzy, right? So I want to just work in a little more definition into this, right? And look at that. We're already looking like a beach. That came out a little wrong. Okay, so now I want to brighten up the beach because, of course, when you look at a beach where the surf's been in and out and all that, you want to make sure that the wet sand is, of course, always darker, right? So we're going to come back to our beach and we're just gonna kind of lightly go over it with, I think, no, that's not quite right. Let's do, what if we did, reduce the particle size on this. I like that. I actually really like that quite a lot. Okay, and next we're going to darken up the spots with the wet sand. Just kind of along that edge there. And then I'm going to go back again with the oil brush and just, oops, that's the wrong button. Back again with the oil brush. Just kind of sharpen that line there a little bit. Okay, so there we go. There is our beach and water. I think that turned out pretty nicely. Fairly nicely, I should say. Okay, now I'm going to start building in clouds. And this horizon. I could stand to straighten the horizon line out a little bit. But this is going to be sort of blue-white color that we're going to build our clouds out of. I think maybe I need to build the clouds on a separate layer. It's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm going to do that. There we go. Because when you're looking in the distance, the distance makes it look more blue. Whatever it is you're looking at, right? So say there's a big bunch of clouds up here. That maybe it's gonna storm or something. Got clouds over here. We're just gonna kind of get them in kind of wispy. Maybe you don't necessarily have wispy clouds in the tropics, but I'm gonna do it. And then over the top of that, you get your white. I think I went a little too heavy with the white there. So let's see. Let's go a little bit lighter with the white. Just kind of figure out, okay, we're gonna have our light source over here, right? So our clouds are gonna be kind of just adding dimension to the clouds as much as I can. Is what's gonna happen. Right, right. And then I think I want to take my smudge brush and just kind of smudge around a few places just to kind of give it a little bit more of an organic shape. Because I've been doing, drawing in a lot of lines and stuff, so I want to try and just kind of smudge things around. Add a little bit more like randomness, you know? Ooh, kind of dug into that one a little bit. go. It's decent clouds. Okay, and the next thing I think I want to do is what? I think I need to get more blue in there. In the water, right? So I'm going to take my, I think I'm going to take, am I going to take a pastel? No, that's too, well, maybe. Why is that so, why is it just white? That's not, oh, because it's set on chalk. That's why. That still just looks white. That is definitely weird. Pastel, okay, crayon, let's see, crayon. Why is that still white? I definitely set it to, oh, I see, because it was set to transparency for some reason. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. Oh my gosh. Embarrassing. Okay, so here we're just gonna work in, nope, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna go back to our oil brush. Now we're gonna work in much more blue from the sky, you know. That same blue color, right? Because that green, I feel like, should just be like a, like, I feel like the green's coming in too strong, is I think the point. Right, so the blue should be accented by the green, but not overtaken by the green. And the green should definitely be closer to the shore where you can see more of it, right? And then we go to the deep blue of the sea when we get further from shore. Right? So definitely more like that. Sharpen up this horizon line a little bit more. And we're looking a lot better. Already. More depth, more, you know. Depth, mostly. Okay. So what is next? Next, I want to put some more island kind of in the side there. Similar to our reference images, you know, you can see, you know, bits of island and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just boom, boom, and we're just going to throw some green in there. Come on. There we go. right? Something like that. Tropical islands have that kind of stuff, right? Right. Okay, and then we're gonna do some like stone things. I am actually curious what kind of stone you have on tropical islands. Because sometimes it looks like it's very light near the water, and sometimes it looks kind of dark. So I actually really like these rocks that I found. I found an image on the rocks, and it's just a lot of gray and like a really light tan color, so kind of like the sand, but then also like a dark, sort of a gray. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with, right? So like do a dark gray, and then these are really fairly distinct looking, I think. So I'm gonna do this with, nope, let's do the felt tip pen brush. And yeah, let's go like a ton lighter. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it, guys. I'm gonna go a lot lighter because felt tip pens kind of do that, right? They do like that, right? So I'm gonna do felt tip pen, and I'm gonna do a big rock section here. Much bigger, actually. Go like that kind of a thing. Let's maybe do like a that. That looks good, that general shape. That looks pretty good. And then do like another one over here. Kind of like that. And I think maybe we put a similar rock like right in here, which means we're gonna have to adjust our waves and stuff. No, that would mean we'd have to adjust our waves and stuff. Ugh. Well, that's okay. That's fine. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a smaller brush dealy, and we're just gonna go kind of like that, right? Except I think I want to go even lighter than that. So let's go, right? Even more nuance. And then we're just gonna do our rock faces, right? And oh, you know, you can put more or less in. Based on however I want to do it. And, you know, based on some image references, of course, too. So, gonna make it pitted looking. Nice and weathered. So kind of like that. And then this one, I think we're gonna go a little bit bigger brush size. Kind of do the same thing, right? Kind of just get our general jaggedy shapes out there. Ooh, that was weird. Oh, because that's the part underneath there. Right, so kind of like that, and then gonna come in again. Make sure you get this nice dark color in here, because that's where the water line is, and it tends to erode the bottom of the rock quite a bit more. Same thing over here. You know, the water line, we gotta make sure we get the kind of water line in there. Basically is the idea. Do a bunch of little. This part's a lot of little details, kind of, to get the rock face looking the way we want it to. Just gotta. Kind of just work with it using little tiny motions here is what I'm doing. Okay. I like that. I like that. Okay, so now we're just gonna come in here and we're gonna kind of shape the rock a little, because it's gotta be what you call it, stylized a little bit. To go along with our character. And of course, we want to make sure that, oop, that's too much. The water line on the rocks looks good. Right? Right. There we go. Okay, so now I want to add a little bit of tan, a little bit of green. Well, a lot of green, really. And then throw in the more scenery, and then place Thodak in there, right? Is the idea. So let's take our green, and we're going to go with a light green first, because it's sort of going to be your mossy color. It's going to be a lighter green, but not like a light green, right? And this is going to be, again, kind of your mossy color. And of course, because of that, oh no, let's actually do it on a new layer, so we don't blend too much with the rock. But because of that, we're going to end up with maybe we do want to go with a harder brush, I think. Maybe we do a harder brush. Let's see. Where's my hardness? There we go. Yeah, that's better. And we can kind of round out the features a little bit, right? Because again, this is greenery that's been growing on these. On these rocks. And so that'll eat some of your features because it tends to cover up stuff like that. But and it'll also help provide more like general definition, I feel like. Kind of just come down in here, make sure it gets up and down in some of these cracks, and decide which areas are surfaces for the rocks to, or to for the plants to cling to the rocks. That feels like a surface spot to me. And that looks about good. And then we're going to take a darker green because, I don't know why actually, because I'd be interested to know. And I think it's because they're just different plants, but the few pictures I've found about with like that sort of rocky the plant covered rocks in the tropics and everything like that, it tended to have the darker greenery kind of up on top. Basically like this. And I'm not sure why. Hardness, brush density, let's turn the brush density up a bit. I've been using lower density settings just because it helps build more nuance in the different color variations and things. But I do feel like sometimes it calls for, a project just calls for a higher density. I think maybe the darker green is just where the like actual plants and not moss is growing. I think maybe that has something to do with it. So I'm gonna kind of plot that out like that's the case. Like the darker greens are like actual plant clusters and stuff. Where the light green is more like mossy. Right, so that's looking pretty good actually. Now I'm gonna take the that sand color from our beach. This color, nope, that color, this color. There we go. And I'm gonna turn my hardness down again, or my brush density down again to about 10, and I'm gonna work in some light sort of sandstone looking stuff, like cracks and stuff, like really that's mostly what it's going to be. Spots where the rock is worn down a little bit, that kind of thing, especially around here, just kind of all up in there. Yeah, it helps add a little bit of dimension to the rock. You can kind of see already how that's really helping give it that weathered feel too, which is real nice. Okay. And really I could be going more and add more shades and stuff like that, but I do want to get on with the rest of the thing, right? So A few things. So first we got to go back to our water. We got to add like a dark green, sort of muted color, and this is going to be a low density brush, low hardness, and we need to add a shadow to where this is. And also, you know, a little bit of a reflection too. The reflection part I feel like is going to be a little bit harder, so I'm focusing on the drop shadow right now, or on the shadow that goes into the ground, not the drop shadow. Sorry, misspoke. And need to go even darker. Because, you know, gotta cast a shadow, right? Now we're gonna do the same thing over here. Trying to be careful not to remove that liquidy effect, right? So we're gonna have it a lot darker here, and we're gonna try and kind of just roll some of these up, you know, if that makes sense. So there we go, there are those. And I think what I want to do is, I think I want to smudge the rocks a little bit too. Just along the bottom, so they look, so they blend a little bit better. Nope, 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 that looked bad. Let's use the actual blend tool. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Not a lot, not super heavy on the blend tool, just enough to, you know, make it look like it belongs together. Because I did notice kind of a hard break. There we go. I like it. Okay, so what pose do we want to give Thodak the blacksmith? That is the next question. Whew, you know, I spent so much time on just the background that I don't know that I have a lot of time left for Thodak. So we may save Thodak for next week, but I do want to sketch in kind of my idea of where I want to place him, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take a bright contrasting color, and I'm going to decide where along this scene I want to do it. Now, ideally, I probably should have done the scene first, but I like to do backdrops. I think they're pretty. I do need to straighten out this line here. I have noticed that that's not the straightest. You know, across the water. Definitely need to fix that up, so that's a note. And then we have the shoreline is about there. Got to fix that up on my next pass. And then how I want to do Thodak is the name Thodak? I thought, yeah, Thodak. Sorry, I keep saying Thodak. Thodak, the blacksmith. Um, okay, so this one. I think what we're gonna do. I kind of want to have him just sort of staring out at the water, but I don't know. He was being a good uh warrior and stuff, and really leading his team. So maybe I set him up to um be scouting some more, right? So maybe we put him like here. Uh, ooh, I know. So what if we have him like here, right? Do like a bust kind of thing, but then have him like have a fistful of azurite. So it's like this deal. He's got his fistful of azurite, and then he's like kind of like that, and then we can do the his big bundle of rope hairs, right? I think that's what we're gonna do, because I think the way I arranged the beach, it wouldn't make much sense to have him out there in the water. I do know I need to redo some of the like sea, what do they call it? The tide, the what is it just called foam? The white sea foam, is that just what it's called? Okay. Anyways, sea foam needs to be redone a little bit. The water line, I need to adjust the horizon line and stuff like that. But I think as in general, I think I like how the scene's set up. Um, and I know I don't want to add too much detail to the background because it adds like a nice depth of field change. So I'm gonna have to add a lot more detail when I get into Thodak properly. Okay, but that is my time for now. So thank you for joining me. Those of you who did, I hope you enjoyed it. And I painted a beach. Um, I will see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye, friends.